I'm in my 40s and I've been studying Japanese every day since February 6, 2024. That's 1 year, 12 months, 52 weeks, 360 days. Yep, I've missed 5 days early on. At 9 months, I took a trip to Japan. It showed me how much I've learned and how much more I still need to improve. But it took me 12 months to realize what might be the most important key to learning Japanese. So, let me take a moment to show you just how far, or not, I've come. Don't worry, we'll be back to English in no time. 皆さん、こんにちは。元気ですか？俺は日本ミャオと申します。よろしくお願いいたします。やっぱり自己紹介は一番簡単なことですね。これから難しくなる。はい、この動画でちょっと日本語を話しましょうか。やっぱり1年間ぐらい日本語を勉強しましたけど、猫、ちょっとシュッシュ。にゃーにゃーって。なんだにゃーにゃーちょっと待ってね、ちょっと待って。うわー、かわいいじゃん。この俺たちの猫だ。猫は1匹じゃないね。2匹いるね。この一番うるさいな猫はカスター。この猫の名前はカスターですね。いやでも OK。 本当に失礼しました。ごめんなさいよ。さあ日本語でね、日本語。1年間ぐらい日本語を勉強しましたけど、やっぱりいろいろな難しいことあったけど、漢字、例えば漢字、本当に難しいですね。いろいろな難しいことあるね、日本語で。でも面白いものもあるね。毎日暗記使いますけど、暗記わかるかな？知ってると思うね。暗記、有名なアプリですね。なので知ってる。毎日暗記使うけど、本当に暗記は実は暗記一番大切なものじゃない。一番大切なことはイマージョンですね。例えばアニメ見たり、ドラマ見たり、漫画読んだり、ポッドキャスト聞いたり、少しずつ上手くなるね。なので、ちょっとみんな一緒に頑張りましょうか。イマージョンにしようかね。毎日イマージョンにしよう。さあ、やっぱりその話は本当に難しいね。カメラ前に英語で話すのは難しいけど、やっぱり日本語の方が難しい。なので、みんなどう思う？俺はペラペラですか？下手くそですか？やっぱり下手くそですね。コメントでちょっと教えてくれないね。お願いします。面白い。そのコメントは本当に面白い。全部コメントは読むね。さあ、これから少しずつ頑張ろう。英語で続けましょう。ね。So as you can see, I mean, apart from a little interruption with the kitty, this is my Japanese. I hope that was useful and instructive to you. If you're just starting, you might think, oh my god, this guy is absolutely amazing. He's just so fluent. I am not. My pronunciation and maybe pitch accent is a little bit better than what you would expect at 1 year mark. There are two things to bear in mind. First of all, I wanted to record this without any cuts so that you can see me struggle with the language. Kitty helped. I masked a lot of struggles there. Secondly, bear in mind that I've put a lot of thought of what I wanted to say. This was not the first take. Yes, not the first take, guys, okay? And there have been a lot of scripts that I have written, and I have discarded all of them. I've written the talking points, kind of followed them, but I really wanted this to be as raw as possible. But you have to bear these things in mind, that it wasn't just I spontaneously turned on the camera and all of a sudden just started speaking without any preparation whatsoever. On that note, let's continue with the rest of the video. After my trip to Japan, I was fired up. My goal, finish the Kaishi 1.5k Anki deck. In my mind, this was a must before moving on to bigger things. Looking back, of course, that was an arbitrary goal. I had already finished another 2k deck. As it turned out, there was only about 600 words overlap. The issue here, I thought I could yet again sustain learning 20 new words daily. Just like I did in Japan, just like I did before. And of course, I made the classic mistake. Pushing too hard. Burning out and barely scraping by, just to hit this self-imposed milestone. I stopped immersing completely. I stayed up past midnight grinding Anki. Absolutely miserable. Thankfully, around this time, I finally sat down to edit my Japanese journey videos. That pause made me reflect on what I was doing, what was working and what wasn't. One major realization: I had put my entire life on hold to learn Japanese. My physical and mental health, my other priorities, everything took a back seat. Just before Christmas, my brother visited to run a marathon. We were both supposed to run it, but I hadn't run once in almost a year. That was a wake-up call. I used to love running. It made me rethink my priorities. I needed to put my health and happiness first. Looking back at my 6 and 9 months progress, I saw a pattern. The biggest breakthroughs came from immersion, reading, listening, watching anime, playing games. But I was spending a disproportionate amount of time on Anki, and not enough on immersion. At the end of the day, immersion is what makes learning fun. Anki? Not so much. Grinding flashcards for hours was draining, while engaging with media made learning feel effortless. Then YouTube's algorithm threw me a curveball. Study theory videos suggesting 1:5 ratio of active study to practice for optimal skill acquisition. I even turned to ChatGPT for advice on cutting down Anki time and increasing immersion. And here's the advice I got. Lower retention to 85%. Focus on what sticks naturally instead of forcing every word. Suspend leech cards, those stubborn words I keep getting wrong. Stop adding new cards until reviews stabilize. And switch to listening cards. That's audio-only prompts to improve real-world comprehension. I implemented everything except suspending leash cards. Now, my Anki reviews take 20 to 30 minutes daily, much more manageable, leaving more time for immersion. Until now, my immersion was passive. Listen, watch, and try to understand without looking things up. But then the game changer happened. Something I initially thought would slow me down. Sentence mining. I expected it to be tedious, wasting time searching for words, audio, and making flashcards instead of immersing. I couldn't have been more wrong. It takes a second per word, and I'm still fully engaged in anime or other media. I practice both listening and reading in a more active way. Plus, it makes words stick better. I remember almost every scene where I mine the sentence. And the best part? It's fun. The more I mine, the more I understand, the more enjoyable it gets, creating a positive feedback loop. This realization was so profound to me that I honestly think this is the most important step I took in my language journey in the entire year. So, where did all this effort get me? In the past 3 months, I have a total of 260 study hours, 94 of which is Anki and 166 of which is immersion. 100 of those hours are in Japan. On average, that makes about 2.8 hours daily. In the whole year, however, I have 866 total hours dedicated to language, with 434 hours active study, that's grammar, Anki, etc., 432 hours of immersion. On average, it makes it about 2.4 hours daily, with 3,000 words learned. More importantly, comprehension. I've easiest time with watching anime with subtitles. That's visuals plus audio plus reading makes for a great comprehension boost. Without subtitles, my listening ability drops significantly. Podcasts, even harder. I have to listen to much simpler content to follow along. Pure reading, my weakest skill. I've neglected it for the past 5 months and am forgetting kanji. More on that in a little bit. This past year was a roller coaster, burnouts and breakthroughs. At times, it felt like stumbling blindly in the dark, searching for the door to comprehension. But through the struggle, I have grown, not just in Japanese, but in understanding how I learn best. Moving forward, it's about balance. I've adjusted my schedule, started running again, making YouTube videos, and most importantly, enjoying the language. Even if that means slightly fewer study hours, it's worth it. But one unexpected challenge: losing kanji comprehension. I spent 6 months memorizing over 2,300 kanji. But since stopping Anki reviews, I'm forgetting a significant chunk. I know I don't want to go back to grinding kanji on Anki in isolation, so how then do I fix this? Is it just a matter of reading more, or is there a smarter approach? I'd love to hear from you. Have you hit this wall before? How did you break through? Any tips on tackling kanji loss? Is it really as simple as just reading more? Let me know in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. Year 2 is going to be even more exciting as comprehension grows. I'm looking forward to seeing how far we can go on this language journey. And if you want to know if 9 months was enough to survive in Japan, find out in this video. それじゃ、またね。バイバイ。